I'm not super dressed up or anything. I just wanted to make a quick video because I posted this on TikTok.
Doing everything wrong. In my defense, I wasn't supposed to be around this long, so.
And let me tell you, the boys are not happy. Okay, I'm gonna go in a different room for quiet. Okay, I'm in my friend's mum's room now. So the comments were not happy. They were angry. Which obviously I don't really care, it's whatever. But I wanted to do a video kind of explaining what homeless means and more about my situation, just for the people genuinely uneducated and not just ableist and classist. Which there was a lot of I got this comment, which was astounding. But yeah, basically my situation is I was in an abusive home when I was a child, and I became legally homeless at 16 because I got kicked out. But I moved in with an ex semi-legally, so I did that. But that also became, I'm not going to specify details, but it became unsafe is what I'm going to call it. So I had to leave there, and I went into a homeless shelter because I went to housing advice to hopefully get council housing, and they said I needed to leave immediately because it was unsafe. So I moved into a homeless shelter for a couple of days, but it became clear that basically they weren't going to offer me suitable housing for my autism, because they were only going to offer me group housing because they thought my mental illnesses and things meant that I wasn't responsible enough to have council housing under the age of 18. So they were only going to offer me group housing, which I couldn't be in because I'm autistic. So right now I'm just living in my friend's spare room. I don't have legal right to be here. I can get kicked out at any time, so I'm legally homeless. And it's not an ideal living situation for me, but it's better than any of the alternatives. So I'm legally homeless. I legally have no right to be here. I legally don't have a house, right? So I said in the video I'm legally homeless. That made a lot of people angry. A lot of people were also angry because I'm not in education. I got kicked out. I'm gonna try and go again next year. There's not really anything I can do about that. Homeless does not mean you're living on the streets. Homeless does not mean you can't afford to rent somewhere. I can afford to rent somewhere. I can't afford to rent somewhere bougie, you know, or I would just buy a cheap house. If I could afford to rent somewhere with insane prices, I could save up for like a shitty house or something. I don't know. I can't afford that. I will probably never be able to afford that. But I can afford rent. I'm not homeless because of my financial situation. I'm homeless because of my age and my disabilities, which some people don't seem to understand. But a homeless person can look nice. A homeless person can live in a car or a van, their friend's room, or their fucking ex-boyfriend's couch. I don't know. A homeless person does not mean somebody sleeping rough. A homeless person can be staying in a homeless shelter or in temporary accommodation like I was. A homeless person is just somebody who does not have a legal address. That's it. And that's what I am. And yeah, some people seem to be angry that I'm using the word homeless, or that it's my fault because I left home at 16. But that was not my choice. Just wanted to explain homelessness just means you don't have a legal address. If somebody's unhoused, I think that means that they don't have a place to stay at all. And if somebody's street homeless or sleeping rough, that means that they're on the streets, you know? I'm not that. I've never said I'm that. I hope to never be that. Yeah, that is what homelessness is. Mental illness doesn't have a look, addiction doesn't have a look, poverty doesn't have a look, that kind of thing. Same with homelessness. You can be homeless and look like anything, like anyone. Here are some homelessness statistics from the government website in the UK. 39.4% of households owed a prevention duty. The reason for it was that it was the end of a private short-hold tenancy. So they were renting a place and their tenancy ended, and that was the most common at 39.4% of people. I don't know the percent, but I'll put it up if I can find it. But the amount of people claiming no fixable was 5,350. and the amount of people who were rough sleeping on the streets was 3,760. 12.1% of people had experience or risk of domestic abuse. So yeah, I hope that kind of clears some things up. It isn't my fault that I'm homeless. It isn't anyone who's involuntarily homeless's fault. If you don't want, if it makes you angry that there are homeless people, direct that anger at the government, at the classist, ableist systems that put these things in place. If you have a problem with disabled people living off benefits, sort that out, because that's something wrong with you.